I'm Kristen May. I may look all grown up, but I'm a big kid at heart. I love to make people laugh. And as a comedian, I know that without proper planning, things can go wrong. When it comes to hazards in our community, being ready is even more important. On Hazard, we're going to show you how to make preparing for disaster look so easy, even a big kid can do it. Stay tuned. This is Hazard. Most of us know that procrastination gets us nowhere, but we do it anyway. But the folks at Hazard know preparation is key to prevailing over disaster. As a comedian, even I need to prepare. Procrastinating in comedy is like insert joke here. Anyway, each corner of our country is known for its own distinctive disaster. Wildfires in the West, nor'easters in New England, my family reunions in Michigan. And every year, America's Southeast and Gulf Coast look to the tropics and prepare for Earth's greatest storm, the hurricane. These giants expend more energy than 10,000 nuclear bombs and can be bigger than a large state. The largest cyclone recorded was Typhoon Tip in 1979. Its hurricane-force winds extended 675 miles. That's almost the size of Texas. You wouldn't want to face something like that without some backup. And unlike my ex, at least there's some warning before a hurricane shows up at the door. The necessary steps residents should take can't wait till tomorrow. The next big storm could be just around the corner. Hurricanes are not unique to the Atlantic Basin, but the storms that form there have a higher likelihood of impacting the American mainland. That's why these hurricanes make more headlines. Hurricanes are caused by cyclical areas of low pressure. In the northern hemisphere, they always rotate counterclockwise. Those in the southern hemisphere rotate in the opposite direction. Each year, news reports tout the importance of hurricane preparedness during the warmer months of the year. But what exactly is a hurricane? Hurricanes only form in tropical areas where surface ocean water is at least 80 degrees. And because they feed off of this warm water, meteorologists designate the hottest part of the year as hurricane season, June 1st to November 30th. But a storm can form anytime. In 1954, Hurricane Alice formed on New Year's Eve. Man, you know Alice liked to party. As the warm surface water evaporates, warm, moist air rises, leaving less air around the water surface. This creates an area of low air pressure. Nearby cooler areas of higher air pressure move into the space near the water. This air then becomes warm and rises too. When the rising air cools, it condenses into large storm clouds and the swirling of air continues. When atmospheric conditions are right, the spinning clouds grow as the warm water and wind continuously feed them. Whether these storms will strengthen into a hurricane depends on two main factors. The ocean water stays warm, even to a depth of 150 feet, and the light upper wind holds a steady direction and speed, a phenomenon called low wind shear. These pieces come together to make a tropical system. The challenging part of the puzzle, though, is understanding what factors influence a storm's track and intensity. As the storm system rotates faster, an eye forms in the center, like water going down a drain. When the wind in the rotating storm reaches 39 miles per hour, it's called a tropical storm. When it hits 74 miles per hour, it's a hurricane. The strongest recorded hurricane on Earth was Hurricane Patricia in 2015, which formed in the Pacific Ocean. It had a peak sustained wind of 215 miles per hour, shattering previous records. Geez, Patricia, why you gotta be such a show-off? These swirling clouds begin to create some very identifiable parts: the eye wall, and the rain bands. When looking at a hurricane from above, a prominent circular hole can be seen. This center is referred to as the eye of the storm. The seeming calmness of weather in the eye of the storm is misleading. The edges of this center can be the most dangerous. The eye wall is where the storm's strongest winds and heaviest rains occur. Rain bands are bands of clouds that make up the rest of the storm. The thunderstorms that make up these rain bands can stretch hundreds of miles out from the center and produce tornadoes. I didn't even know hurricanes could produce tornadoes. It's like ordering a combo of storms.
Welcome to Disaster Queen. May I take your order?
Yeah, can I get a Cat 4 with tornadoes? And can you toss in a blizzard and a quake? I want to shake things up. Scientists have theorized about many ways to stop or lessen hurricanes, from dropping bombs to making bubble curtains, but so far, we have not been able to control Mother Nature. But we can predict their formation, their path, and their destruction. Wait, you're not going to explain bubble curtains? Oh, I need to get some of those. I thought I'd get a handle on this hurricane thing, so I've been invited to the South Carolina Aquarium, where they have a hurricane simulator. I mean, why do they get their own names? We're not in Detroit anymore. How long did you say hurricane season was?
Do you know your evacuation route? Step 1 is to think about your community and surrounding area. What are all the ways you can leave your neighborhood? Step 2, learn your evacuation routes, practice with your household, don't forget about your pets, and identify where you will stay. Step 3, when a disaster strikes, follow the instructions from local emergency managers and first responders on how to get to safety. Visit ready.gov for tips to prepare to protect yourself and others.
Okay. Oh, ooh! My bubble curtains came in. They're gonna look so great next to my... We're back? We can't prevent hurricanes from happening. The prevention aspect of disaster avoidance comes from securing property and keeping people out of harm's way. Buoys, satellites, radars, and some real hands-on data collection offer a clearer view of daily atmospheric conditions. By looking at trends in this collected data, scientists can make predictions about the strength of a hurricane and what its eventual track could be. Large ocean floats called buoys, placed in remote areas, collect and send information about ocean and weather patterns. Today's devices form a large network of data collection using satellites to transmit information directly from our oceans to NOAA and other agencies worldwide. Buoys measure and collect air and water temperatures, wave heights, and wind direction and speed at the water surface. This information is the basis for computer forecast models. Offering a view from above, satellites provide snapshots of cloud formations and temperature, which helps scientists better track and understand hurricanes. It's like a Google map for weather. While satellites are invaluable in detecting the formation of tropical storms, Weather radar can be used to measure rain and wind when these systems are close to land. Today, more than 150 Doppler radars monitor weather patterns over the United States and its associated territories. But to really find out how a hurricane works, some scientists like to work hands-on. The famous hurricane hunters fly aircraft directly into and around major storms. The planes hold instruments that measure and transmit information about pressure, humidity, temperature, and wind, providing a detailed look at the storm structure and strength. Forecasters use all this data to feed computer forecast models, which calculate and predict future weather behavior, not only for existing storms, but for entire hurricane seasons. In the 1980s, meteorologists could accurately predict hurricane behavior about 24 hours out. Today, that same level of precise prediction can be given for a 3-day forecast. With all these smart scientists and high-tech gear, we certainly have an edge over hurricanes. But if you've ever been stuck in a downpour after seeing a sunny forecast, you know that predicting the weather doesn't always mean you get it right. Man, I wish my job was like that. Yes, Chad. Yeah, there's a 30% chance the TPS reports are wrong. And there's a high probability I'll do them wrong again. Yeah. Well, that didn't really work out the way I imagined. Nevertheless, meteorologists do provide valuable and informed predictions that help people stay ahead of storms. A lot of this predicting comes from computer models. Models run over 1,000 realistic scenarios to determine probabilities using known data and opinions about future events. The longer the forecast period in days, the larger the potential error of the track. Rapid intensification of storms can be challenging to predict. Wind speeds can differ between nearby locations. Meteorologists' biggest fear is complacency. If a town prepares for a big hit and gets a glancing blow, it can lead residents to feel like hurricanes are not a big deal. But for some parts of the U.S., the question is not if, but when. Stick with us. This is Hazard.
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
Let's go.
you'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Make a plan today.
Forecasts and predictions can give you a heads up, but some storm preparations take a bit more forethought. Preparedness begins at the state and local levels. Smart building practices influence the amount of wind, rain, and flood buildings can sustain. Also, emergency centers must have a plan for evacuation, shelters, and first responders. Individuals have a responsibility for themselves and their property in the face of the storm. Hurricane shutters, strong windows, and hurricane-rated roofs are all smart additions to homes in the line of fire. These add-ons can go a long way in preventing property loss. And state emergency plans are great, but only if residents know about them. Make sure to familiarize yourself with disaster policies in your community and understand where to get information. Communities have posted evacuation routes that citizens should take when leaving the area en masse and in a hurry. This planned evacuation strategy helps alleviate congestion on major roadways by dispersing those who flee the storm. Know your zone, follow your route, and know beforehand where you want to go. Also, be sure to know and understand advisory tools at your disposal. In addition to local news, communities use voluntary warning systems that you can sign up for to receive alerts right on your phone. The NOAA National Hurricane Center website posts advisories at least every 6 hours, and more often when bad weather is expected. Make sure you understand the difference between a watch and a warning. A hurricane warning means tropical storm conditions are expected in your area within 36 hours. A hurricane watch means there is a possibility of tropical storm conditions in your area within 48 hours. Also, pay attention to whether there is a watch or warning for expected storm surge. Dangerous storm surge can often occur after the storm is gone. Even before a hurricane is expected in your area, make an emergency kit. This one can be fun. Make sure to have plenty of non-perishable food, drinking water, batteries, medications, important paperwork like deeds, social security cards, and insurance information, cash, flashlight, first aid supplies, chocolate, and I mean the good chocolate. And have a plan. Know how you will communicate with your family if you lose power, and have an idea where you might evacuate to. If you have pets, make sure to include them in your preparedness plan.
Just like your emergency family evacuation kit for both adults and one for children, there should also be one for your pets. So folks need to make sure they have at least 3 days of food and water for each pet. Collar, ID tags, and a leash. If you haven't had your pet microchipped, also check with your veterinarian and microchip your pet. Something very important is that because of the stressful situation for both people and for animals, bring along things like your pet's blankets or towels or toys or hairbrushes or anything like that that they're accustomed to, so that through their sense of smell, there's something that they can attach to mentally that is consistent, that is routine for them, and that'll help mitigate the stress for that animal. Make sure that you also have photographs of both you and your animal together, and that helps in case you're separated from your animals. You can go to findingrover.org and take a photo of your animal, upload it, it's totally free, and there's a facial recognition system for both dogs and cats that's very helpful in case you're separated with your pet. And we saw a lot of folks that were separated with their pets after Hurricane Katrina. That has prompted much more social awareness, if you will, of making sure that your pets are prepared to evacuate with you. A lot of folks have pet dogs and pet cats, which are outdoor cats or outdoor dogs. Before a storm and during a storm, trying to get those animals or evacuate those animals is going to be fairly challenging for families, especially if they wait to the last minute, because the animals are going to sense all of this stress and emergency nature, and they may hide. And you can't evacuate with them, and the worst thing you can do is leave them behind. What we know from Hurricane Katrina is that most of the folks who did not evacuate cited that they didn't want to abandon their animals. And unfortunately, there was considerable loss of life of both humans and animals. If there's an order for evacuation, evacuate. No ifs, ands, or buts. Some pet emergency shelters will not have carriers or crates, so you want to make sure you have that. You also want to make sure you have a first aid kit specifically for your pets. For whatever reason, should you decide to stay behind, don't leave your animals outside. Bring them into the same shelter that you're going to set up for yourself. Here's the key, and it's an old cliche, but every family, every individual needs to prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. Whatever you do, don't leave your pets behind. It's the worst thing you can do.
Armed with your emergency kit and plan of action, you are ready to weather the approaching storm. When looking at a projected track, understand that there is ambiguity with predictions. Go ahead and look up the cone of uncertainty. If there is not a mandatory evacuation, but you are in the cone, close shutters or cover windows. Place sandbags around the parts of your property that are low-lying and would be damaged from flood. Secure outside objects that could be picked up by the intense wind. Make sure your gas tank is full and have multiple ways to receive communications. If there is a mandatory evacuation, leave. Take your emergency kit and follow your set evacuation route. Think of this as the hurricane you've always dreamed of. Make sure that you and your family can go to either a FEMA safe room, ICC 500 storm shelter, or a location well out of the path of the storm. And if you can't leave, Find a small interior, windowless room, or a hallway on the lowest floor that is not prone to flooding to hunker down in. Do not go outside in the deceptive eye of the storm. Do not walk, swim, or drive in floodwaters. If your house begins to flood or you're in danger, try to contact emergency personnel to let them know where you are. Go to the highest floor that is not an enclosed attic. Hurricanes are no joke. Make sure you have a plan, heck, even a plan B, and stick to it and follow the advice of emergency officials. Stay tuned. This is Hazard. Because of the chaotic nature of intense hurricanes, the tally of loss of life and property is not precise. However, NOAA's National Hurricane Center keeps an archive of statistics when it comes to these storms. Early accounts of hurricanes date back to the 15th century. Since then, these incredible feats of nature have not ceased to amaze and destroy. Some of the deadliest in North America have all landed in the southern United States. The Galveston hurricane of 1900 is thought to have led to more than 8,000 deaths in Texas. 2,500 died in eastern Florida after the Lake Okeechobee storm of 1928. And more recently, Hurricane Katrina of 2005 said to have caused directly and indirectly upwards of 1,800 deaths. The increase of population on the Atlantic coast influenced some of the costliest of American hurricanes. Since 1980, 39 hurricanes and 5 tropical storms caused more than $1 billion worth of damage each. 11 of these occurred in the last 5 years, and 3 alone in 2020. When adjusted for inflation, Hurricane Katrina is the costliest, with Hurricane Harvey holding second. Rather than wind or rain, it's the storm surge that poses the greatest potential cause for large loss of life in a single hurricane, according to NOAA. Storm surge is the abnormal rise of water generated by a storm over and above the predicted astronomical tides. Every year, the Southeast and Gulf coasts are under serious threat. If a hurricane causes major damage in your area, hopefully your preparation has spared you the brunt of the storm. Many times, though, communities rely on each other to put the pieces back together.
In the aftermath of a disaster, no one person can help this community, so we have to work together, we have to work united. Many things are needed. It can be from serving food, it could be providing food, clean up in a yard of a senior citizen who does not have the ability to do that, and it can be as simple as taking a bag of ice to someone who doesn't have any refrigeration. So at Trident United Way, we try to help bring people together and unite them so that we can serve people in the community in the most organized fashion.
We are the primary evacuation organization for animal shelters in this Southeast. Occasionally, we'll get the question of, well, why is Charleston Animal Society helping so many other places and everything? We feel as an organizational value that we have a disproportionate responsibility to help others. That if we can save an animal, let's save that animal, regardless of where that animal is. The other thing is that forming these collaborative relationships. Here in Charleston, the Charleston area, for about 7 years in a row, we've had these presidentially declared national disasters here. And what we have found over these years is that so many organizations across the country come to our aid. And that's why we do the same thing in reverse. We go to their aid as well.
After a disaster, look out for your neighbors. Knock on their door, check to see if they're okay. Make sure you're okay, your family's okay. And then if you can, call us. Call Trident United Way.
Really, it's about brothers and sisters helping each other in a time of need.
After a storm, when it's safe to return, it's important to listen to instructions from authorities about hazards and road closures. Avoid down power lines and floodwaters. Do not walk or drive through floodwaters, as the road could be damaged and there could be hazards in the water. Carefully document any property damage with photographs for your insurance carrier. Be cautious when removing debris and never touch electrical equipment that you suspect is wet or if you're in the water. And help your neighbor. Preparedness goes a long way, but a helping hand can pull you through to tomorrow. Don't wait. The time is now to prepare so you can prevail over disaster. This is Hazard. Buoy. Buoy? Buoy? Who's a good buoy? You're a good buoy. 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 A buoy, buoy. Whoa, whoa. Something, something. Yeah.